What is going on, guys? It's Bucky, and in this video I want to talk to you guys about the filtering flask. Now, a filtering flask looks a lot like an Erlenmeyer flask, but it has a little side arm on the side right there. Now, this side arm is so you can hook up a vacuum tube to it, and that's pretty much what I'm going to be showing you guys later. But the overall job of a filtering flask is to pretty much speed up filtration. So let me go ahead and show you guys, a quick example of filtration, and it'll be easier to understand exactly how this thing works. Now, in order to use a filtering flask right here, you actually need more than just the filtering flask. You need a whole bunch of stuff, and this stuff is actually usually sold in a kit. I got all of these as one kit, including the paper. So let me go ahead and go through the pieces right now. Of course, I already talked to you guys about the filtering flask itself. This thing right here is called a Buchner funnel, and this is essentially going to go inside here. And it just makes pouring the mixture in a little bit easier. And aside from that, you have a rubber stopper, and this is just to make a good seal between the funnel and the flask. Aside from that, you have your vacuum pump. I have a hand pump because I really don't do a lot of filtering, so I can just do mine by hand. But other systems, more complex systems, are actually built right into the lab, like whenever you go to college or anything. But mine's just a simple hand pump. And the last thing you need is filter paper. Now, this is kind of like a coffee filter, but smaller and, more scientific, of course. Now, in order to set this up, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you have a hose connected on your vacuum pump. I assume that you're using a hand pump like me. Now take the other end of the hose and put it tightly on your filtering flask. And you can use a little oil if it goes on there tightly. And you don't need to get it all the way on. You just need to, have enough to make a good connection so that there's no air leaking at the seal. So after that, go ahead and take your rubber stopper and put it right on your filtering flask like that. Now, you put this on because what we're essentially going to do is we're going to add the funnel on top, so it makes the solution easier to go in the flask. However, if you just have it like this, it's going to be really loose, and we don't like loose things, of course. So what we need to do is we need to use a special stopper that, it pretty much came with the kit. So go ahead and put that on, and then go ahead and put your funnel on, just like that. And look at that, nice and tight, beautiful. Now, this is my mixture right here. It's just a really simple mixture I made for demonstration. Just some sand and some water. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to filter the sand from the water. So we're going to be on the top of the Buchner funnel right here. But before we do, what we want to do is we want to add a piece of filter paper so we can get a more fine filtration. Now, as you can see, this paper is just kind of, it doesn't make a really good seal. So in order to, make this paper stick to the funnel a little bit better before we start pouring our mixture in, just go ahead and grab a little water. And as you can see, whenever I pour it on the filter paper right here, it's going to make that paper stick to the funnel and make a real good seal. And this doesn't mess up your experiment at all because this water is actually part of the mixture itself. So now, as you can see, our paper makes a really good seal, and none of our mixture is going to go between the sides of the paper and the funnel. So now, of course, the only thing left to do is to go ahead and filter our mixture. So as you can see, I have a mixture of sand and water here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pour all of this in the top of the funnel. And there's going to be a little bit of sand left over. And usually, what you would want to do if you were doing this for real, sorry about the noise, is you would basically want to rinse this out with water just to make sure that, there's no sand left over. But just for this demonstration, it doesn't really matter if there's sand left over or not. Now, as you can see, this is filtering, of course, but it's going really slow, drip by drip by drip. At this rate, it's going to take about an hour to get all that water, separated from the sand. So what you do is you actually, again, make sure you have a good connection here. I'm going to go ahead and start pumping. And whenever I do, keep an eye on this, water right here. It's going to turn from a drip to a stream. And let me go ahead and start pumping right now and check that out. Now what's happening here is this vacuum is basically creating negative pressure. So So basically it's taking all the air from this bottle and sucking it out. Now whenever it sucks it out, it pretty much pulls down the water faster, leaving you with nothing but dry sand on top. So again, basically what this does is it speeds up the filtration process by a lot. And it does that, again, exactly like I said. And instead of this process taking, an hour or two, I just filtered that entire mixture in about, 20 seconds.